Welcome back to the Norse BenchWarmers podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt, co-host Ben Miller, and director Dr. Garrett Jordan, an expert in football injuries from the armchair.
What can I say? My mom was a dietitian.
Still want to know what a tennis knee is.
I still haven't figured that one out myself.
I'm surprised with your expertise. I mean, you spotted that Achilles injury from a mile away on Deshaun Watson.
I mean, it was very similar to.
Yeah,
it was. I didn't see it though. Really, I saw I saw the clip and then I saw a little bit of the replay, but I didn't really catch I didn't see the.
No, when they slowed down the replay and I saw his calf turn to jelly, I was like,
once I
that's
actually
an Achilles.
went and saw it after the context, I was like, I could have spotted that. But yeah, rough day for the NFL. But we're not talking about NFL today. We're talking about college football, as it was a beautiful weekend. Was it better than the 12th?
I think so. I think the games might have been a little bit better, but I mean, it's been back-to-back fantastic weeks.
Let's just
we got another loaded slate this week.
I mean, we got 4 overtime games last week. That's tough to beat. This week was great too, though. I'll go ahead and run down this brand new top 25 the AP poll released last night. Oregon hops into the number 1 spot. I don't think to anyone's surprise. They beat down on Purdue, and none of the other top 5 teams outside of Georgia, Texas did anything. Penn State and Ohio State were both on byes. Obviously, Georgia getting that massive win over Texas in Austin bumped them up to number 2. Texas falls to number 5. So your top 5 as it stands right now is Oregon, Georgia, Penn State, Ohio State, Texas. First team out of the top 5 is Miami after they had a thrilling game against Louisville. Let's see what else. Tennessee jumps 4 spots to number 7 after their victory over Alabama, which I believe that also was it was a game for sure. I don't know if the offenses showed up for that one, but regardless, Tennessee into the top 10. Oh, let's see. Who are some of our other big movers? Iowa State, despite the win, losing a spot, falling to number 10. Indiana jumping up 3 spots after their shellacking of Nebraska.
Who was that again? You said?
I said Indiana. I think,
okay.
Right?
Just double checking.
Indiana.
Just double checking.
Yeah, 7-0 Indiana, I think.
Yeah.
Alabama falling to number 15, dropping 8 spots after their loss, which is really funny to me because we currently live in an era where Indiana football is ranked higher than Alabama football. I don't know what's happening. Boise State on a bye week drops 2 spots, a little disrespect there. And the only team to move into the rankings this week, Vandy, securing that number 25 ranking after their victory of Ball State. First time ranked since 2013, I believe. Only team to fall out this week.
We don't have to talk about it.
The Michigan
Wolverines.
No, we don't have to talk about it.
Who lost to Illinois, as we predicted.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one here coming up. But that's your top 25 wrap up. Both service academies still ranked and still undefeated. Love to see it.
So I do want to talk a little bit about the top 25 since we got some extra time today to talk. First off, there's 2 voters that still have Georgia number 1 in the country despite a loss to number 15. Oregon is undefeated. Oregon is the only number 1 team in the country right now.
For now.
Stop giving me that SEC biased. Oregon is number 1. Georgia shouldn't even be number 2, but we won't even go there. Actually, no, we will go there. Which one's a better loss? To number 15 Alabama or number 4 Ohio State? Or sorry, to number 1 Oregon. Ohio State should be ranked ahead of Georgia.
I don't know. Their only win is over Oregon.
Is their only loss?
Or only loss, sorry, is
Correct.
against
So they
Oregon.
lost
But my point was their only game of substance is against Oregon. Whereas Georgia has played Texas, they play A&M, Clemson. They played Clemson, who's looking good. They've played better opponents. That's just I see your point. I don't disagree with your point. However, I don't blame them because Georgia is far more battle tested than Ohio State, and I think they would wipe the floor with Ohio State if they played right now.
I don't know if I can go that far. Not with Ohio State's offense. Ben, you got any thoughts on who should be ranked higher, Georgia or Ohio State?
Man, that's kind of tough. I would say Georgia because they obviously beat Clemson, and Ohio State, they still got to prove themselves, in my opinion. So as of right now, I'm fine with the AP poll.
Yeah, I mean, the Clemson win looks better each and every week. Of course, Clemson hasn't really played anybody, I guess, but they've been taking care of business. So,
well, since I'm being a stickler, I'm going to go into my remaining undefeated. We were down to 10, gentlemen. We were down to 10. First off, obviously, number 1, Oregon handled Purdue, and all I can do is go there. Right there. Yeah, that one. There you go. There's that. Number 3, Penn State coming off a bye with a trap game this week, going to the Jump House of Wisconsin. We all talked about it. James Franklin has a lot of doubters in this table, and so Penn State got to go ahead and prove it before they got Ohio State next week at home. Number 6, Miami, Florida, again survived Louisville, but now it's FSU week. I know Florida State's bad, but it's still a rivalry game. Number 10, Iowa State. Number 11, BYU. Both needed to come back. ISU gets a bye. BYU to the bounce house and taking on UCF, who we'll talk about in a little bit. Number 13, Indiana. You okay over there, Colton?
I actually realized I haven't checked to see if Ryan Walters has been fired yet. So,
Kurt Signotti, one and done at IU. It might be a serious question to ask. Country Roads take him home. Game day versus Washington.
Yep.
How does that make you feel? College game day is at IU.
Yeah. So we're going, right? That's an hour and a half drive.
Yeah, I would love that, except for I have that one thing. It's called work.
Yep,
so I can't.
Same here.
I also have work. So.
Yep. But I would honestly would have loved to gone.
Would have been fun.
Colton, do you have work on?
I kind of banned myself from Bloomington after the last time I was there. we won't talk about it.
All right. Number 19, Pittsburgh. Thursday versus the Orange. Big game in the ACC. Mm-hmm. Not the only one. There's another one I want to talk about a little bit later. Number 23, number 24, Navy. They just keep running through opponents. They've looked unstoppable this year. Army is one of 2 teams who have not trailed at all this season. Wow. Colton, you want to guess who the other team is? And last but not least, Liberty. 31st currently in the AP poll. Going to need some help if they're going to be a G5 because their schedule is very terrible. However, a fun fact, they have only played 1 game since September 22nd. So a little rust. However, they got at Kennesaw State Wednesday, 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. That is our remaining 10 undefeated. It's going to be fun to see who last. I think Indiana could be... Washington's better than what their record says. I think Washington can compete with them, but Indiana's putting up a lot of points and they're stopping a lot of people.
Yep.
So there's that. Anybody want to talk about Indiana football anymore, or should we just move on?
I'll just say it. I'll be unbiased on this. I absolutely think they can beat Ohio State at Ohio State. I don't care. This coach Sig is nuts. This team, if they lead, they don't look back. They just don't look back. I mean, that Nebraska defense wasn't that the whole thing. I mean, Saban on College game day all day was just saying, no, the Nebraska defense is too good. The Nebraska defense is too good, and he ended up picking Nebraska, and they not only beat them, they beat the crap out of that defense. They made the defense look like that guy's defense, and it's just. Yeah, this team's good. This team is a college football playoff contender, and I'll just say it. As much as it hurts to say, I'm willing to say it, and I can't even act like I'm really too sad because I have friends that are enjoying the best time of IU football, so at least they get to do that, I guess.
I do want to clarify. This is actually a pretty big thing that I just found out about after doing some research. Curtis Rourke is ruled out indefinitely with a right thumb injury.
I was literally just about to bring that up.
Does that change your opinion at all, Colton?
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're not going into Ohio State and win without him. So they definitely are going to need him to do anything at Ohio State. But that's still, I believe it's literally a month away. So
their backup QB ain't too bad though. Trace Jackson Davis's brother.
Yeah, this kid is. Yeah.
Rourke's different.
I'm gonna say Rourke's got NFL talent. He's proved himself. From Ohio U to now literally dominating the Big Ten. It's been very impressive. Ben, you got any thoughts on it before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, Indiana overall, what a huge win over Nebraska. And coming into this game, though, everybody was saying, is Indiana for real? And after coming out of this game, we actually know who Indiana is. That offense doing what it's been doing all year, putting up ridiculous amount of points against a really tough Nebraska defense, though, and I was so shocked Nebraska didn't even show up on defense because I was hoping that defense was going to show up to try to stop that offense. But Indiana, they were not backing down. So overall, great win for Indiana. Now we know who they are as a team.
I was going to say Indiana's 31, 77, 42, 52, 42, 41, 56. They're just scoring on everybody, and they're scoring at will. Like it's impressive. But then when you go into that, they've allowed 7, 3, 13, 14, 28, 24, and 7. It is impressive. Yeah. And now they get College game day. They got a big matchup versus Washington.
Yeah.
Poor Colton is still contemplating how he can get a coach to Purdue, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But since we got nothing else going on, I'm going to go ahead and recap the six-pack from this week. So we had Miami 52-45. Cam Moore 21 of 32, 319 yards, 4 touchdowns. Tyler Show, however, 31 of 51, 342 yards and 4 touchdowns. Difference in game: Miami 222 rushing yards.
Yep.
Dominance on the ground. Then we had Tennessee, Alabama 24-17. All points in the second half by Tennessee, and Jalen Milroe. We all talked about his experience, especially me and Alex. 25 of 45, 239, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Big game Jalen was not there. But Bama, 220 rushing yards given up.
Yeah.
Wow.
26, 139, and 2 tutties for Dylan Sampson. Illinois beat Michigan 21-7. Battle of the Golden Boot. LSU 34, Arkansas 10. Complete dominance by LSU on both sides of the ball. But now it's off to A&M for the first place in the SEC. Anybody have that on their bingo card? Garrett, you had to, right?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. It was on your bingo card. And then
might have been my free space.
Yeah, the headline of the game: Uga 30, Texas 15. Complete dominance by Uga, but Texas didn't quit. 3 scoreless quarters for Texas offense. Trevor Etienne 19 carries, 87 yards, 3 tutties. Texas 29 rushing yards, gave up 7 sacks. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Georgia has the best defense in college football.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more questions about that. Look what they did to Clemson. Look what they did to Texas. They have the best defense. Ohio State and Oregon can battle it out for number 2. But I believe where the difference lies is where Oregon and Ohio State have a better offense than Texas. Quinn Ewers did not look like Quinn Ewers.
No, not at all.
No, he looked like NFL Andy Dalton.
and Carson Beck didn't look that great, but the defense was just a difference. Rounding everything out, Hail Mary. Alex picked Nebraska. Again, they give up 56, and game day is now headed to IU. Ben took UK. Thankfully, basketball starts in a few weeks for Ben.
Thank God.
48-20, Florida. Should we talk about hot seat? Should we talk about hot seat Mark Stoops?
Oh man,
I know you don't like firing people and you like being really positive over there, but
I mean,
this is a disappointing year after what started great for Kentucky.
I mean, yeah. I mean, ever since they knocked off Ole Miss, I was hoping this was going to be that was going to start a winning streak, but unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. And that defense has been absolutely sluggish the last couple of games, and yeah, sometimes I was thinking to myself that we definitely need to change for sure. But I don't want to give up on Mark Stoops yet. And plus, that Florida game, that was a must-win. So, unfortunately, I just don't know what's going to happen for Kentucky.
I doubted the Storm and Mormons at home. They broke mine into Polk's heart. 38-35 thriller, scoring in the last 10 seconds. Nice to see Ollie Gordon decide to show up, though. 19 touches, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Colton gave us a highlight, but it was only one Purdue had all week, 35-0 Oregon. Colton, did you get Matt Campbell's phone number yet? And then Garrett down at Oklahoma, and it paid off.
Yes, it did.
South Carolina 35, Oklahoma 9. The biggest booster at OU needs to be on the phone right now with Josh Hopel and repair that. Bring Josh home, because look what he's doing at Tennessee. And look what you're doing on offense at Oklahoma. Find a way to bring Josh home. Colton, 3-3 on the week, 3 points, 23-19 on the year, 28 points, still in last place. Ben, 3-3, 3 points, 21-21 on the year, 29 points. Garrett, 3-3, 4 points, 22-20 on the year, 33 points, and still in first place. 3-3, 3 points, 25-17, 50 points on the year. Still a long way to go, gentlemen. Absolutely anything can happen. Just need that one or two big upsets. Colton's still over there just contemplating life. But is there any game that I just spoke on that you specifically want to cover, whether it is Miami, Louisville, Tennessee, Alabama, Illinois, Michigan, LSU, Arkansas, or Georgia, Texas?
So just from the six-pack,
yeah, just the six-pack, yeah.
I watched that Louisville-Miami game. I think there was a lot. It was a lot closer than maybe the final score is still a touchdown away, but it may have seemed. I mean, they were a freshman fumbling in Miami's end zone away from getting the lead in the first half, which is major difference. It was a 10-point swing, and so if you have that, you could have a lead going in the second half. Show definitely. That's how you say his name. Show.
Shuck.
I don't see the K, but Shuh.
No, Shuck.
Shuck. There's no C in there.
I don't control how he pronounces it.
Okay. Well, Shuck, anyways, did gain my respect as somebody that I hadn't really seen, but I've heard you guys talk bad about. I thought he looked fine. I thought he looked like a great quarterback out there. But Louisville played tough. They were in this game. They were ready to do some spoiler maker work, and they just couldn't get the job done. At the end of the day, Miami is an incredibly tough team, but they give you a chance. They give you a chance, no doubt. And at some point, that somebody's going to take that chance and run with it. Louisville just wasn't the team. Looking at their schedule, I don't really see who's going to do it until maybe that last week there on Syracuse with McCord. He's another great quarterback, and they also have a sneaky defense. So I don't know. Keep an eye out.
It's also at the Q's. Going to the
it's
Dome.
also at the Dome.
All right. For myself, I want to go back to Georgia and Texas. I mean, obviously, the way Texas performed on offense, especially with Quinn Ewers, that was shocking. A lot of people did not expect that. But Georgia, they went in and just absolutely dominated on defense. I mean, this was the game that they looked like the typical Georgia team that we're used to seeing. And, I mean, Texas, they got some work to do for sure.
I was going to say, you literally might have just read right off my notes. This was traditional, old school Georgia football.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going to play defense, and we're going to run the football. Carson Beck threw, I believe, three interceptions himself, right?
3 interceptions.
Three
not a good
interceptions himself. So they realized, okay, we need to run it. And they ran it, and they ran it very well. I do now have some questions about this Texas team.
Absolutely.
To the point where I don't think Texas is going to be a lock for the college football playoff anymore.
Really?
I disagree with that.
They still got to go to A&M.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone over this. I don't think a 2-loss team is getting in the college football playoff this year. I've made that bold statement. I could be way wrong. But I don't believe a 2-loss team is going to be able to make it this year with the way it all looks now. And if Texas were to lose to Texas A&M, I think they would be out.
Yeah, I do want to jump back to this Miami-Louisville game. This game, outside of that Miami rush offense, which Josh already highlighted, this really was a showcase of 2 NFL talent wide receivers in Xavier Restrepo for Miami and Ja'Cory Brooks for Louisville. Brooks, the transfer from Alabama, caught 6 receptions, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns. He really was the spark for that Louisville offense. And Xavier Restrepo equaling him just about 7 receptions, 101 yards, and 1 touchdown. Restrepo also breaking Michael Irvin's career receiving record at Miami. So Restrepo is now the leading career wide receiver yards-wise at Miami. So these are 2 NFL talent wide receivers that I guarantee we'll see playing on Sunday. And unfortunately, the difference was just that Miami rushing attack. Louisville had no answer for that. Another rushing attack I want to point out, the LSU Tigers. Caden Durham, 21 carries, 101 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the day. Run him! Run him! For the love of God,
He did.
Brian Kelly.
21 carries?
I mean, that's a very good run day. I don't
No,
say
I understand it is a good run day. You just need to do that more. This was the first time we saw Caden Durham carry the weight of that rushing attack for LSU. And what does he do? 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Run him. Run him. Please, Brian Kelly. Please, I beg you.
All right, so since everybody got the take, I'll go ahead and talk over the game I quickly skipped over. Illinois, like I said, won 21-7 over Michigan, but this is not going to be about Michigan because there's a lot I could say about Michigan. This is going to be about Illinois and Brett Bielema. Brett Bielema's weeks of Michigan over the last few years have been tragic. He lost his mother and he lost his sister the same week of the Michigan week.
Oh, I did not
so
know that.
every time he plays Michigan, he's just got that bad feeling. And it like he openly admits, like, it's just all the memories come flowing back, and it's emotional for him.
Mm-hmm.
Before he got off the bus to play Michigan, his mother's favorite hymn was playing, and he knew today was the day we were beating Michigan. I've always liked Brett Bielema. I loved him at Wisconsin, that traditional smash mouth Big Ten football. So it was very nice to see, and it's going to be interesting how that style can hold up against Oregon this weekend. I am very much looking forward to that game.
Yeah, no, that's a game I have circled for sure, as Illinois is just a sneaky team. Like, yeah, they gave up a lot to Purdue, but there's also just the side of very next week going up against a very good Michigan defense. I like their quarterback. What is his name, though?
Luke Altmaier?
Luke Altmaier, yeah. Luke Altmaier. He's a great quarterback. I like their style of play. If they have to fall back on him, though, they also have a great running back as well. So, yeah, I think there's more than meets the eye. I don't think Oregon's going to finish this year undefeated, and this could very well be where that ends right here. I guess I just gave a little spoiler, but
No, I wasn't as in tune on this game, but just going back and looking at the stats, it looked like it was a pretty sloppy game. A lot of turnovers for Michigan. Jack Tuttle,
when you don't have a quarterback, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, yep. I do love that we're highlighting Luke Altmaier. I mean, I just went and looked at his page. Through 7 games, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception only on the season. And I will remind people, Illinois beat Michigan without their star gigantic running back, Caden Fegan, and they still ran for 187 yards total on Michigan. So I think this Illinois team is kind of starting to emerge. I think Caden Fegan is still just a sophomore, and Luke Altmaier's a junior. I think Altmaier's top target, Bryant, is a senior. So next year he's going to have to look for a new number 1 target. But this Illinois team next year might be pretty deadly.
Till the portal happens. You never know in college sports nowadays. So
we could have said that about Oklahoma State last year.
Yeah, correct. But I mean, the portal also. I mean, that will always play.
Okay, so
you throw money at a player and they'll hightail it out there.
Caveat: if everybody stays, Illinois can be a devastatingly evil team next year.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Oh. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some other games to note. Garrett, you want to lead it off, or you want me to?
I can go ahead and lead it off.
Okay.
I'll start the conversation by talking about the thriller comeback that we got between UCF and Iowa State. I mean, for 2.5 quarters of this game, UCF was in total control, and then I don't know what happened at halftime, but I guess a switch was flipped in Rocco Becht, and I mean, you all know I've talked about it off air with you. I don't have as much faith in Rocco Becht right now, but he earned quite a bit of my respect with his antics in the 3rd and 4th quarters. I mean, he took control of the game basically and put the team on his back and won it for him. So a massive amount of respect earned for him, and it'll be exciting to see if Iowa State can continue this miracle run, because this comeback win is a type of win that fuels undefeated seasons. Like the team feels it, right? It's like, we just came back from 2 scores down. We have the energy. We're gonna do this thing.
Yeah, right. Like with that point, there's parts throughout the season where you're going to be tested like that. That's just like I mentioned with Oregon. Do you just roll over and not come back, or do you come back, get the win? And that's what separates the 1 and 2 loss teams from the undefeated teams, is that they're able to come back even though they're down. And I want to give all the credit in the world to Beck, because and you know, the team as a whole did great, but I mean, he reminded me of Kyler Murray out there, like college Kyler Murray. I don't know how high an honor that is. I thought he was pretty good.
Well, Murray won the Heisman, so.
Okay. This guy degrades Kyler Murray every day.
Kyler Murray in college gets the name Kyler Murray.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the NFL, he's a garden gnome.
Okay. All right. I'm just making sure, but yeah. So that's really what he reminded me of, just putting the team on his back. And there's just not a lot of quarterbacks out there that do that necessarily. There's a lot of game managers out there. Quinn Ewers kind of comes to mind from his performance. If I could see Beck coming back in that game. I don't know. That's a bold take, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. A stat that I saw looking at these stat sheets that I wanted to point out. There was 600 total rushing yards in this game.
Beat me to it.
600 total rushing yards.
Wow.
UCF, RJ Harvey, 25 carries, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ja'Curry Brown, their quarterback, 13 carries, 154 yards, and another 2 touchdowns. So how the hell Iowa State came back and won this game, I don't know. Because when you put 354 yards up on the ground, you tend to win games. This is, again, impressive fortitude by Iowa State to be able to weather that rushing attack and to be able to score enough points and come back and win that game in the final seconds of the fourth quarter.
I was about to say, we do like giving team credit to teams, but this one does go to Rocco. He threw 46 passes and he ran the ball 20 times.
Well, I mean,
that man literally said, "I'm putting the team on my back, though.
Give me the ball."
So, I mean, I sent it out at halftime. I sent out his stat line, right? I mean, he did not have a good stat line at halftime. I think he was under 50% of his passes, 2 interceptions for maybe like 48 yards or something like that. And then the second half, totally different player.
But I will say, for the undefeated season, though, just looking ahead of their schedule, they've got Texas Tech in 2 weeks at home, at Kansas. But then they got the Big 12 champion Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yes, sir.
All right.
At Utah, and then Kansas State. I think the undefeated season is a very real possibility looking at that schedule. K-State, going to be tough.
K-State, Iowa State going to be a movie and could just end up being the Big 12 championship again, too.
Yeah, but not shocking.
Depending what happens with BYU.
Yeah.
True, I forgot BYU's
And
still undefeated.
the winner of Colorado and UC. So
when do they play?
That's when
Colorado UC's this weekend.
Yep.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will be watching that game.
I'm sure.
Should be a fun one.
Just a fun stat I wanted to throw out, though, not to kick FSU while they're down, but Duke got their first win over Florida State ever after going 0-19 in their first 19 games versus Florida State. So, Norval, your seat is really hot. How you can go from almost a college football playoff to you're fired, we're about to see it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary. Another game?
Hold on, I forgot to mention
Wait,
Matt Campbell. Please, please come to Purdue. I know you like corn. We have corn. Okay, we maybe not as much as Iowa, but we have corn and we have Big Ten football. Please, Matt Campbell.
He is.
Please.
Honest to God, he is the perfect coach. The man knows how to recruit Ohio. He's got allegiance to Ohio. If he can make Iowa State relevant, there's no reason why he can't make Purdue relevant. And who's to say Purdue can't be, this year's Indiana if they get Campbell, Rocco follows him, and some of his defensive players follow him. Purdue could be back there, but they would also. Do they spend money like that though? Because Campbell's not going to come cheap.
That's the one thing that Purdue doesn't like spending money. We don't do that. There was a point I was going to make, but I lost it in the Matt Campbellness. So go right ahead. We have corn.
All right, Gary. Another game?
The only other game I'm really seeing that kind of jumps out to me is the Notre Dame and Georgia Tech game. I genuinely thought that Georgia Tech had a potential chance to pull off this upset with them hosting Notre Dame.
Haynes King was out.
Yeah.
I
did not realize that Haynes King was out with a shoulder.
Yeah.
But once again, looking at that stat line for Notre Dame, Riley Leonard continues to rack up touchdowns like he's playing Yahtzee. Riley Leonard is going to be the next Taysom Hill in the NFL. I'm calling it right now. He's going to be that guy that you just throw in there and you're like, just run the ball 10 yards using your big body. That's Riley Leonard will be the next Taysom Hill. I don't know what team he's going to be for, but I guarantee you that's going to be his role.
Fair enough. Other games of note that I've got, because I got a few. I pulled to Garrett this week. I apologize, gentlemen.
Please go right ahead.
So Clemson is back since losing to Uga 34-3, and they scored 40 in every game but one. Since an embarrassing L to BYU, they've gotten right. Kansas State, don't watch out for them as we just mentioned. But the Sunflower Showdown is this week.
Yes.
Denver versus Kansas.
A lot of good rivalry games this week.
Have we been sleeping on SMU?
Wait. You have lost my track. I thought you were still talking about Clemson. Then you were talking about
I'm bouncing around.
You done lost me, damn.
All right. So I've mentioned Clemson.
Okay.
And I mentioned now Kansas State.
Okay.
And now I'm mentioning SMU.
I've been on SMU.
Have we been sleeping on SMU? 40-10 win over Stanford. And y'all need to wake up to the sophomore quarterback, Kevin Jennings.
Yep.
He took over for Preston Stone, and he hasn't looked back.
This dude looks good.
The Big 12 champion, UC Bearcats, win again, 24-14 over Arizona State. 36 carries, 201 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground for the Bearcats. Plus, they got Arizona State's kicker fired. I don't know if you guys saw the post game.
No.
Arizona State is holding open tryouts right now. They basically said if you go to Arizona State and you can kick a field goal, we want you to come, and we're 100% real. Like, it wasn't just like anger and like spilling. No, he flat out said the kicker is gonna basically lose a scholarship, and they're having walk-ons
Get that.
have his opportunity to. So if you go to Arizona State, feel free to go out there and try to kick some field goals.
Get that dude from Oregon that drilled that field goal on game day.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Maryland beat US.
Don't get the Texas guy. God, that was disgusting.
Maryland beats USC 29-28. Lincoln Riley, you're officially put on notice. Hot seat. UCLA wins first Big Ten game at Rutgers. Does that really count, though? And last but certainly not least, the most important thing, Brady Cook is not a dog. That man is a tiger.
Okay.
To go to the hospital and then say, nah, I'm going back. Go back to the stadium, get your helmet, go back on the field, and come back and get a 21-17 victory over Auburn to keep your college football playoff alive. And then after the game, they asked him, he's like, I got 2 games left playing here. I wasn't missing that.
Yep.
That's why that man ain't a dog. That man is a tiger. And I love that dude. And that's the kind of guy I want playing for my team. First, we mentioned Ashton Genty last week, and now we got another guy like Brady Cook. These are college football players, and this is what college football is all about.
Definitely.
Brady Cook's a tough dude.
Yeah. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, definitely is. One of the most underrated quarterbacks.
They have a chance. They have a chance to springboard themselves back up there this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we're about to be talking about him here very shortly.
Yep.
Yeah. Are we ready for that?
Do we want to talk about the other games happening first, or do we want to go straight into the 6-pack?
I will say really quickly, the last bit of news from this past week: Mississippi State has officially fired their head coach after a 1-6 start to the season.
So ECU and Mississippi State now have fired their 2 coaches.
Yeah.
So we're 2 coaches, and we're trying to fire other ones.
Tell the people, Colton.
Does that guy even have a first name, or is it just Walters?
Ryan Walters.
I didn't feel like giving the full name.
Fair enough.
The Walters.
All right, so Gary,
and Mr. Potato Man approves if he couldn't. Yeah, he agrees.
Gary, you want to talk about the other games, or you want to go on the 6-pack first?
Probably the other games.
When you say the other games,
the other games this week that we were going to bring up that we aren't going to talk about.
Yeah, the ones that got shafted.
I mean, if you want to, I'm ready to move
I'll
on.
All
go ahead.
right, so I got to run down a quick other games to pay attention to. Now, look, we wanted to cover these games as well. However, we have rules, and we hold the standards here of the rules. If it's a top 25 matchup, it makes the thing. Or it makes the pick 'em. Makes the thing. 5 of them this week, all right? We can't help the spreads were way higher than a lot of these games, but they're still the 5. The other games, though, just of mention. Thursday, Syracuse at Pitt. Syracuse trying to keep their ACC championship hopes alive. Friday, number 17, Boise State at UNLV. Circles, signed, delivered. Game, of course, starts at 10:30, which is beautiful for all of us, as a lot of times we're busy on Fridays, and the late night start is very helpful. Saturday, Tulane at North Texas. Yes, I know that sounds crazy to bring it up. However, it is very important because these are the 2 teams trailing Navy and Army in the conference, so the winner of that will hold a ticket to possibly get to a conference championship, which opens the door to be the G5 representative.
Damn.
Saturday, Penn State, Wisconsin, as mentioned before. Franklin, don't let me down. I've been on the Penn State train all year. I need that Penn State game versus Ohio State, you being undefeated. Also Saturday, number 22, SMU at Duke. Kind of like the Syracuse Pitt game. Duke still right there in the ACC championship hunt. God, I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
And then SMU looking very, very good, being ranked, also undefeated in conference. So they have a way to get to a path. But most of all, Saturday, 10:15, ESPN, Cincinnati at Colorado.
Yep.
Gentlemen, the Bearcats have a chance to make a statement.
Yes.
After
Yes,
all
sir.
this, literally a month and a half ago, me and Garrett are pounding the desk. Fire, fire, fire. He has a chance to literally beat the man that we all wanted. Every single Bearcat fan wanted Deion Sanders, whether they admit it or not. It's 100% true. We wanted the name. We wanted the craziness of Deion.
Yeah.
You have a chance to go out there and make the statement and say, no, this is why you hired me. I mean, if he beats Deion, I'm done talking bad about him.
Cats by 90.
Cats by 90.
Yeah.
So those were the other games.
You were running down those games, and I was just scrolling through them, and something caught my eye. The North Texas quarterback, Chandler Morris, he's kind of balling out.
TCU transfer, if you recognize that name.
I was about to say, I recognize that name, but I didn't know where he was from. But
yeah, TCU.
2,400 yards and 23 touctouchdowns on the season. Are they running an air raid out there? Because Jesus.
Yes.
I don't think you can get those numbers any other way.
But no, man, it's another loaded college slate. We got 5 top 25 matchups.
Yeah.
College football is heating up. College football is delivering. And this is the best time of the year because also, technically, basketball literally right around the corner.
Yep.
Speaking of which, tonight we will be doing. Wait, it's not even going to be out in time,
no.
so it makes difference. But tonight we are doing the live show. So here's a post of that.
But back to UC real quick.
Yes.
I mean, the last couple of weeks, their offense has been absolutely elite, and I just cannot wait to see them go up against this Colorado defense in Boulder. So I have faith in them. I think they can potentially pull it off for sure.
I really just want to see what, this is going to be the first time I fully sit down to watch a Colorado team. And Shadur has a chance to prove me wrong. Travis Hunter is obviously the second, third best player in college football. It's just, this is a highlight game for UC to also make a statement.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Travis Hunter, he's healthy though, right?
I wouldn't say healthy, but he's playing.
Okay.
They sat him in the second quarter of Saturday's game to rest him because he was having some shoulder tightness.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, UC could be undefeated at this point. Not for the.
I mean, you would argue one bad quarter, they'd definitely be ranked if they could just take away that Pittsburgh loss. The Texas Tech game, they lost.
Oh shoot, I forgot.
That was still a good game.
But that's what I'm saying. But you take away that Pittsburgh game for sure. They're a ranked team right now, or they're at least borderline ranked.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah.
But enough talking about the homerism of me as a Bearcat fan. We're going to get into this wonderful six-pack, and I'll hand it back over to you because you got this conversation and you do a wonderful job at it.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's go ahead and start. Once again, we're not doing any Friday games because no ranked games on Friday, but we do have at noon on ABC, number 12, Notre Dame, at number 24, Navy. Give me Navy. Hoorah!
I mean, the man said it best. I was a Marine. There's no way I'm picking Notre Dame to win this game. Navy, go shock the world, baby.
Potato man.
I mean, Navy's been impressive offensively this year, but I feel like the difference in this matchup is Notre Dame's defense, especially their front seven. I feel like that'll be the difference. So give me the Fighting Irish over Navy.
This game is going to boil down to, will Riley Leonard or Blake Horvath have more rushing touchdowns? As much as I want to root for the underdog story in Navy, I just think Notre Dame is a tier above Navy, and I think that Riley Leonard is probably going to run for more touchdowns than Horvath. But Navy will give them a run for their money because I do think this Navy team is a good football team. I just think Notre Dame's a little bit better.
Honestly, it's nice being at the bottom because I just get to pick whoever I want to win.
It's okay. We're real Americans. These guys aren't. It's fine.
Hoorah! All right. So moving on down, though, to the 3:30 game on CBS. It still feels weird. That's a Big Ten game. Number 1 Oregon is at home against number 20 Illinois. I alluded to earlier, this could be a toss-up game. It's not as easy as it seems because it's hard to go undefeated in college football, and you're going to have tests like these. But at home, Oregon looks tough. But I'm going to let you guys talk first. I want to hear what you guys say.
I'm going to go with who I think is the best team in the Big Ten and might be the best team in college football. I'm taking Oregon.
I mean, obviously we got 2 really good offenses with really good quarterbacks, and also you got 2 really talented defenses. But I feel like with Oregon at home, I feel like that defense is going to be the difference, and I feel like Dylan Gabriel's going to make a play late. So give me the Ducks. They stay perfect.
Yeah, this is similar to the Notre Dame Navy game. These are just teams in 2 different tiers. Oregon is head and heels the better team over Illinois. Illinois is still a great team. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, we've been giving them praise this whole show, basically. It's not Illinois' year this year. Next year, though, everyone stays. Look out for this team. I got Oregon winning here.
All right.
I love picking the underdogs, but I'm also just going to go with Oregon here because that's also my championship pick, so it would just kind of contradict the championshipness. So we'll go ahead and pick Oregon there across the board. Down the line, we have 21 Missouri, who we talked about. They are at Alabama, number 15. If you flip those around, I might have a different opinion about it. But once again, I'm going to let you guys start.
The man's got a tiger in him. Give me Mizzou.
Ooh, all right. You know, I was actually going back and forth on this game. I mean, I'm a little bit concerned with Jalen Milroe about how he's been playing the last couple of weeks. But I'm actually going with the Tigers. They go into Tuscaloosa, and they pull out the win.
Eli Drinkwitz smells blood in the water. Alabama is 5-2. They have 2 losses before November for the first time since 2007. That's when Saban was the first. That was Saban's first year at Alabama. Since 2007, they've not had 2 losses before November. Eli Drinkwitz is going to relish in this opportunity to give Alabama a 3rd loss, and I think they're going to do everything in there. They're going to pull out all the stops this game to try to get this win, and I think they're going to do it. Also, the attitude that Brady Cook showed this past Saturday. Give me Mizzou, man. Also, I can't vote for Alabama. I can't do it.
You know, I thought I was going to be the only one going with the Tigers. I think I'm actually going to flip-flop, though, just to be different, and because remember the last time they went to a away game in the SEC? Yeah, they got killed by Texas A&M, so I don't know if I want to trust that. I'm going to stick with Alabama on this one and hopefully get the easy one. Moving on down, we have number 5, Texas, at number 25, Vanderbilt. That is 4:15 on the SEC Network. What?
Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. It's supposed to be at 25 Vanderbilt Commodores. The Vanderbilt Commodores are ranked. Let that sink in for a little bit.
So we're like a grammarist now too, like
no,
doctor and grammar.
You just
forgot the 25. You didn't put the respect to the 25.
You didn't put the
there.
emphasis on 25. You put the response on at.
They earn their number. You give them their number.
It's the first time they've been
gave
ranked in over a
everybody else a
decade,
number.
dog.
Did I not say 25?
You
No.
did say. You just stressed the at instead of the 25.
Okay. Anyway, continue.
I'm just being petty.
Okay. Apparently I don't do this job good enough. Just go ahead and talk. I don't care.
All right. Well, I'm going to say this now. I told you I was worried about Texas, and I am extremely worried about Texas. Can Vanderbilt do it again? No, they can't. Give me Texas.
Oh, man. I thought you were going to do it.
No, I can't do that.
But,
Vanderbilt proved me wrong again.
I mean, I'm curious to see how Quinn Ewers and this Texas offense will bounce back. I mean, we know who Vanderbilt is as a team. Obviously, they knocked off Alabama and Nashville. But I feel like Texas's offense will bounce back and be better. So give me the Longhorns.
Yeah, I said Mizzou smelled blood in the water. I think Vandy smells even more blood in the water. This is a Texas team that's reeling after its first loss to Georgia. You said what?
Is he going to do it?
Of course I'm gonna do it. Give me the Commodores, baby.
All right.
I tell you, Diego Pavia is a different animal. This dude in big time games, he's gonna shine. They've already knocked off the number 1 team in the country. Who's to say they won't do it to the number 5 team at home again? Are those goalposts gonna end up in the Columbia River again? Not Columbia. What is it?
I don't know. I do wonder. You talk about road trip. That should be really where we head down.
It's the Cumberland River.
The Cumberland.
I
That's
was
what it's
saying
called.
that weeks ago, and I was called a madman. Give me Vandy, dog. Give me Vandy, dude. It's purely just off of I want them to win, but also, who would have thought they were going to beat Alabama? Who would have thought that? And here we have again, of course, Alabama was undefeated at that point, coming off a win against Georgia, not a loss against Georgia. But is it not a little weird that they're coming off a game against Georgia, just like Alabama? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? Let's move along. Number 8, LSU. At number 14, Texas A&M. They square off at 7:30 p.m. on ABC. Garrett, tell me why LSU's winning.
Well, if Brian Kelly does what I told him to do and gives Caden Durham more than 20 carries, LSU should win this game. I think the passing attack is enough. They just need that little bit extra from the rushing game, and Caden Durham provides that. So for the love of God, Brian Kelly, run that man. And that's how LSU wins this game.
I mean, obviously you got 2 really good defenses going at it with each other. We know who Texas A&M is as a team. I mean, they knocked off Missouri at home. They knocked off Notre Dame at home. And
they did knock off Notre Dame. They lost.
Oh, they lost to Notre Dame. I'm sorry.
Correct.
But I feel like that defense is going to be the difference. So give me Texas A&M.
When I pick LSU, they lose. When I pick LSU, they lose. When I pick the other team, LSU wins. So Garrett, who should I pick?
I think by that logic, you should pick A&M then.
Yeah, I'll take LSU.
Oh,
Wow.
no.
All right.
No.
All right.
I am going to go ahead and stay in the boat with Garrett, and so that way I get to blame him when they lose to Texas A&M.
Naturally.
However, well, actually, hold on. This is Brian Kelly we're talking about here. Give me Texas A&M. Never mind. I forgot who we were working with. Give me A&M to win. It'll be a close one, but I just feel like Brian Kelly's got to have that goose. He did have it against USC, though. Damn, my mind's just going everywhere on this one. My final answer, give me the Tigers. I think that offense is tough. I don't know if Texas A&M is going to be able to keep up with it. Maybe they will. Kyle Field's going to be rowdy. It's going to be a fun game to watch. I can't wait to watch it. But now it is time for our Hail Mary pick of the week. I will go ahead and get mine out of the way because there's no baseless on this besides it's like a 22-point spread. So give me Southern Miss over James Madison as JMU has kind of slipped in recent weeks. They're not as good as they were under Sig. I wonder why. And yeah, that's all I got.
Tay Rodemacher?
Well, I told y'all and I hinted toward y'all that I was going to turn around and I'm going to take a crazy long shot. A long shot that would, if it hits, is going to make it untouchable. We'll basically have to restart next week. I'm telling y'all, Florida State is going to go into Miami.
Oh, man.
Oh,
boy.
And pull the upset. Give me the Seminoles to ruin Miami.
That would be
that's tough.
Hilarious.
That's tough. Well, I'm actually going with Cincinnati over Colorado. Like I mentioned before, this offense has been strong the last couple of weeks. They've been impressive in their conference play, and I feel like they're going to continue the momentum heading into Boulder. So give me UC over Colorado.
Josh, in a similar vein to your pick, I'm also going to go with a team that has been incredibly disappointing this season. The Oklahoma State Cowboys have a game against the Baylor Bears this week in which Baylor is favored by a touchdown. I have to believe that Oklahoma State will turn this around. Ollie Gordon got his first 100-yard rushing game against BYU last week. They almost beat BYU were it not for the heroics of one BYU Retzlaff. However, this team has to get going at some point. I have to believe that this is the game that Ollie Gordon gets really going because Baylor doesn't have DeQuan Finn. They're on their backup quarterback. They don't really have that good of a rushing attack. This has to be the game that Oklahoma State gets going.
All right. Well, that's all we have for our Hail Mary picks.
Yep.
Is there any closing thoughts?
I do want to throw one closing thought out there. I know we usually skip over this, but did anybody catch Kirby Smart's interview after he beat Texas?
Yes, I think he said that they got disrespected or something. They got slept on, or
he said basically everyone was doubting Georgia.
Yeah.
Bro, you're Georgia. Knock it off. I get it. People were picking Texas. But don't act like you got a chip on your shoulder. You are still Georgia. You're still respected around the nation. People are still picking you, calling out ESPN. No. You're Georgia. You don't get the chip on the shoulder. You're one of the people we're all cheering to lose every single week. Knock it off, Kirby.
That's a fair take.
Yep.
Garrett, any closing thoughts?
Nah, I don't know how I follow that.
That's a great point.
With a Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. We are almost to 50. And Josh, you know what the giveaway is now?
Yes. So we are going to give a $50 gift card to Fanatics, which this might be completely pointless because hopefully we hit 50 tonight after we go live. But yes, it will be a $50 gift card to Fanatics. We'll put all 50 names of every followers. I believe I follow also. I will not be affiliated to be able to win this. We'll videotape it. We'll spin a wheel or something. Duck race. Something weird. Something fun.
Duck race.
Yeah, right. You can do online duck races. So something weird, something
I was
fun.
thinking real ducks.
Something weird, like I said, something weird, something fun. But the reward will be a $50 gift card to the Fanatics. And then if we really want to get crazy, the next one, we all were talking. If we hit 100... And I'll say, pull something crazy off. We hit 100 by the end of the semester. We'll be generous. By December, we can get 100 followers. We will turn around. We'll give away a $100 gift card.
So the challenge has been set. The bar has been set, folks. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can get you some giveaways. But for now, also follow us on Twitter at NorseBWPod. And thank you all for coming on to the show. Thank you, Garrett, Dr. Garrett, that is, for your hard work over there in the director's chair. You're such an expert at injuries. And yeah.
Still want to know tennis like.
Thank you, Bill, and NKU Media Services for all that you do, literally making the show better each and every week. After this, we are going to get some stuff working on for the live show. That's going to be great. It's already happened, but you know, the time. And yeah, we'll see you next one. Peace out.